Hey everybody, welcome to episode 44 of the Stop and Give Me 20 podcast, 20 minutes with some of the world's top fitness professionals. I'm your host, Anthony Renda. You can check out the show notes at stop20podcast.com. Before you do that, go to iTunes and subscribe to the show. Please leave us a rating and a review. For today's episode, I have on Lauren Pack, and she's the co-owner of Achieve Fitness. She opened it in 2012 with her husband, Jason, who we just had on a couple episodes ago. I was part of the deal. In order to get Lauren, I had to have Jason on. They were named, actually, their gym was actually, Achieve was named one of Men's Fitness top gyms in America. She is a strong first team leader. Just got back from Colorado from their big summit. She's certified in FMS, and she's a precision nutrition certified coach. Like I said, when Jason was on the show, these two are the future of the industry, and you can check out what they're doing at Achieve in an episode I did on shrinkcoachtv.com. So Lauren, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Anthony.
All right, I'm excited for this. You know, I'll tell everybody really quick that, when I sent you guys the email, you guys thought it was a dual interview. No, we respect you as your individual person.
I appreciate that.
All right, let's get into this. What is your story?
So growing up, I was a gymnast, and so I was always really proud of how strong I was and how I could do pull-ups and push-ups, and that was sort of my identity growing up. And one day during phys ed class in middle school, the teacher was having the class do push-ups, and he said the boys had to do boy push-ups, meaning on their feet, and the girls had to do girl push-ups, meaning on their knees. And I was such a goody two-shoes, but I never got in trouble, but I refused to do knee push-ups, and I told him that girls could do real push-ups too, and I started doing them on my feet, and he sent me to the principal's office for rebelling against him. And that was sort of my first endeavor into proving that women could be strong, that they could do anything that they set their minds to, and that I would always stand up for that.
No, I can't believe you got sent to the principal's office for that.
Crazy? I know. My mom was actually very proud when she picked me up.
Nice. Yeah, it's one of those moments where like, yeah, that's ridiculous. Good. Yeah. So, hey, how old were you at the time?
I think at that time it was middle school, so I was probably like 10 or 11.
Okay. And when did you start doing gymnastics?
When I was 4.
Wow.
So at that point, by 10 and 11, I was already competing, and I was already really into it.
Yeah, and I've seen some of the videos of you on the rings, and you're always doing some kind of flip and some kind of handstand.
I try to keep up with it.
Nice. Did you think you were going to be? Did you feel like you were heading in that kind of lifestyle of being a gymnast?
Yeah, actually, I did. I was sure I was going to go. Well, when I was 10, I was sure I was going to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
But I stuck with it for a long time. I did it until I was about 17.
Wow. Cool. I gotta maybe do a deeper dive in that later. But well, let's talk about kind of growing up. Who was that superhero for you? Who really influenced you to become the person you are?
Well, this is actually kind of continuing on that whole background. So I remember one of my clearest memories in 1996. So I was 10. Was the U.S. women's gymnastics team was going for gold, and it was going to be the first time that they ever won gold, and they had a really good team. And there was this woman, Carrie Strug, and at the time she was probably 15 or 16, and she had to vault, and she was the last one to go for the vault, and all she had to do was land it on her feet, and they would win. And the first vault she did, she broke her ankle, or at least severely injured her ankle, and she sat the vault down, so she didn't get a score that would help them get gold, but she had a second attempt to go do it. But her ankle was broken, and she still went for the vault, landed on one foot, and they won the gold. And that was definitely just a moment where I saw that you never had to give up despite your circumstances. That's definitely stuck with me. That's
so cool. I remember that moment. That was so awesome.
It was so awesome. I even cut my hair to look like her.
Really? Wow. Very cool. It's interesting because, a lot of times, we have these people that we kind of look up to who, in sports sometimes aren't always really doing all right, so they're a good hitter or they scored a lot of goals. But what
Yeah.
she did, like how she inspired you was completely different, which is very cool.
Yeah, it wasn't that she was the best gymnast on the team. She probably wasn't, but she was able to just dig deep, really. And despite what she was going through, she was able to persevere. So it's
Love
very
it.
cool.
What about now? Who's your superhero now? There's so many people out there doing great things, and you're a member of so many, like the Results Fitness group and the Strong First group, and so many different. You're exposed to a lot of great people. Who out there right now is you're looking up to?
I know this one was hard because there are so many amazing people in my life and who I'm around. But I'm going to be super cheesy, and I'm going to say my husband, Jason.
Okay.
And there are really so many reasons, and it's not just. I mean, he is an amazing coach, and he's a great videographer, and he has all these skills. But really, the reason he's my superhero is just his kindness toward everyone, and he's just a really good listener, and he really cares about people. And I think that that's where the industry is going. And I think that he's going to change the industry, or his skills that he offers will help to change the industry because he has these values of kindness and respect and compassion. And I really look up to him for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, Jason would be a good therapist, I feel like, the way he
Really.
talks. He's very soothing. You feel like you trust him.
You trust him right away. He makes you just feel comfortable right away, and that's a huge skill.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. Who do you want to be a superhero to? You have a lot of between your members and your, we'll probably get into some of, some of your writing with about kind of some of your body image issues at an earlier age. You've been very vocal about that. Who are you trying to be a superhero to?
Yeah, definitely related to that. I really just want to be a superhero to anyone who's feeling intimidated or overwhelmed by just when it comes to health and fitness. And like you said, I went through a period of time where I was really, really hard on myself, and specifically about my body and my perceived level of fitness, to the point where I was embarrassed to go out in public. I was embarrassed to call myself a fitness professional. And I felt, I mean, I've talked about this in other areas, but I just felt like it was this consuming part of my life where I was thinking of all the time about how I didn't live up to a certain standard. And I just want to hopefully be a superhero to anyone who may be going through a similar time in their life right now. And I want to show them that they, number one, can get past this, and that they can become stronger and more confident. And that sometimes it just starts with opening up about what they're going through, and talking to people about it and finding other people who have gone through it as well.
Yeah, well, let's kind of segue that into the industry, because I think, this is one of those things where there's so many more people like that than we think, and they're among us, right? In that are coming to the gym. How do you, what are some things that you're trying to do to kind of identify those people, or, what are other things that, or do you even have to identify? Or are you just trying to lead by example? Just kind of talk to us in, how are you becoming a superhero to them? What are you doing?
Yeah, I think it really does start with just being very open and vocal about what I've been through. And then the people who are dealing with it come to me, or at least the people in the gym, right? So I've had a lot of people say, they won't say anything to me in person, but then they'll email me and say, hey, I read this article that you wrote and it really it resonated with me, and I just needed to hear somebody else say that they were going through it too. So sometimes it just takes being relatable and opening yourself up. And I think in this industry, there's a pressure on coaches, I think, to, and it's less and less, but to give off this image that fitness is easy and they have this six pack all the time and they can always look like this and it's no problem. And so when people find a coach who's vulnerable, I think that actually is all that it really takes to start the conversation.
Yeah, you're right. And I think, you also can open another can of worms, because sometimes some of this is much harder than just saying, getting people to a gym and being there for them. What happens at that point when it's so much deeper with, some of these other issues that maybe they do need some therapy?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend therapy. For me, I had not a very good experience with it, but it was more because I wasn't ready for it. So I like gave fake answers I went to therapy, but I gave like fake answers. I'd be like,
wow.
oh no, actually I'm fine. Because I was a people pleaser. So I didn't want my therapist to feel bad that I was like having a hard time. So it works for a lot of people. And I think that that's a route that everyone should go, especially if it's going really, really deep. And then if you're trying to work on it on your own, I don't have a lot of answers, and I try not to give out a lot of answers for these kind of questions. First of all, it's not my profession. There are people who deal with this on a much more professional level. So for me, the only advice I try not to give advice. I try to more just be a sounding board and allow people to talk things out. So I don't really have a good answer for like what they should do or what advice. It's just I can tell my story and people can take it for what it is, or they can use that as guidelines for how to go. But yeah, I try not to give too much advice.
Yeah, that's a good example to, setting an example to follow. Yeah. And you're right. It's about being open. I'm actually rereading Joe Ehrman's Inside Out coaching book right now. And what he talks about is, in order to be a good coach, you have to look inside yourself first and deal with some of the pain and the issues that you had, because you're never going to be able to really like relate to all of these kids or all the people you're coaching. Right.
It's about empathy. It's about learning how to have empathy. And the more that you can look back and think about things that you've gone through, it'll help you relate to the people that you're working with.
Yeah, and I want to segue that into a video you guys did about the fitness elitist, because I think this is really important, because I think your message in that video, it really goes along the same lines. It's like, making people sometimes feel bad for their choices because we think we know what's best for them. Give us a quick overview of what you guys were trying to get through in that fitness elitist video.
Basically just, we've seen this with a lot of coaches that like, this is the only way. It's my way or the highway. Like people who are kettlebell people think kettlebells are the end all be all, and people who are barbell people think it's barbells. And we forget to take a step away from what we're doing on a day-to-day basis as coaches and think about who we're talking to and what they really need. And what they don't need is somebody fighting over whether a kettlebell or a barbell is better for strength gains or weight loss or whatever. What they need is just some guidance on how to get started, and they need fitness professionals to not put them down for the type of exercise they're doing, because if they're doing something at all, it's a lot better than doing nothing at all, and we need to encourage that and then slowly guide them into the areas that we feel passionate about and the things that we know will help them the best. But if we go too far too fast with them, it's going to turn them away.
Absolutely. I think we were talking to somebody else recently on one of the other episodes, and Marc Fisher, they brought up the Marc Fisher quote. The best thing we can do for our clients is to get them in as much as possible. So to do whatever we can to make whatever environment as comforting and as safe as possible, just to get them, and fun, get them in as much as possible.
Right. Get them moving. And like, I think we've gone too far. Obviously there's a lot of science out there and we know a lot and we're very smart coaches. But I think sometimes we get caught up in how much we know and forget to just let people start to work things out on their own, let them start to just move and get comfortable. Yep.
Good stuff. Well, I'm not sure if I asked you guys this in Strength Coach TV episode or if I asked Jason the other day. How do you, because it's such an important message, and you guys have started doing the videos, or you're really expanding the videos to where you're reaching more people, but what's kind of the future for you with this message and trying to get to more people? Because I know, after a while, you have X amount of people in the gym, and you just become hungrier to reach more people with this message because it's so important. What do you think? How do you get that message out there even more?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're going to keep we have to remember that we have to repeat ourselves a lot. So we're going to keep trying to just kind of remake those kinds of videos over and over again, maybe put some different, words in here and there, but try to be kind of relentless with this message. And we need to get it out there a lot and in a lot of different avenues. So we'll write about it, we'll speak about it. We hope to eventually get more into public speaking. We both really enjoy it. And so that's probably the message that will spread there as well. Pretty much everything that we talk about now is based around that mission, and Achieve itself is running really well. We have amazing coaches, and it really is kind of doing what it needs to do so that Jason and I can step away and start to spread this message even more.
Absolutely. Good stuff. One thing that really hit me that you just said was repeating yourselves, because sometimes for some people, they're hearing it for the first time. And we often forget about that. Coach Blale used to talk about Jack Parker, the coach for Boston University hockey, who, sometimes Mike, he would have to remind Mike, well, don't forget, these kids never heard what we were saying. These are freshmen or sophomore. So we said it 5 years ago, or we said it 10 years ago, and then we said it again 7 years ago, then 5 years ago. But these kids have never heard it. So it's really important to remember that. I love that you just said that.
Yeah, and we have to, I forget, because I'm like, oh, people will, people get annoyed if we keep saying it, but if they get annoyed the fact that we keep saying it, then they've heard it enough and they don't need to hear it anymore. We need to keep reaching new people. So we have to remember that it's not about reaching the same people and giving new information all the time. It's figuring out your message and trying to continue to push it out there.
Very cool. You were just at the Strong First Summit. And I know you were at Results Fitness Mastermind. So give us like a takeaway from either one that you just attended.
So the Mastermind was a couple of weeks ago. That was out in California. And I mean, anytime we get to spend time with Alan and Rachel Cosgrove, it's like, you have 1,000 takeaways. So it's hard to narrow it down to one. Also, there's a lot of, we're in a room with all different business owners from all across the country. So really the best thing is to hear what's working for everyone in different areas. Sometimes I forget that we're in Boston and we're doing a really good job of reaching people in our area, but what's happening in the rest of the country, what's happening in the rest of the world, and how do we reach those people as well? So hearing from people who are dealing with all different types of cultures and all different communities is just really helpful in broadening your understanding of how to reach more people.
Absolutely.
So that's sort of probably usually my biggest takeaway from that.
Good stuff. Yeah. It's funny because we do get in a bubble, or, we're in the Boston area or the New York area, and we kind of, we have to venture out because people are doing different things everywhere. Good stuff. All right, now it's time for the Stop and Give Me 5 segment. 5 rapid fire questions and answers. You ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, I asked Jason this, but I got to ask you, again, he's not going to listen. Hardest part about having a business with your husband?
This is really, people ask this all the time, and it's really tough for us to answer. I think the easy answer would be that we only ever talk about business together, but that's still not hard for us because we love it so much. So it doesn't feel like business. It just feels like we're discussing what we're both equally super passionate about. So that would be maybe a perceived hardship that other people think we might have, but it's hard for me to, I don't know. I really don't know. I actually think that, honestly, it's easier because we're married, because we have all the same sort of goals in mind.
Absolutely. Yeah, good stuff. What's your proudest moment for Achieve so far? You guys have been open since 2012. You've accomplished so much. What's probably the proudest moment?
Yeah, proudest moment is, I don't know. I can't like think of one specific time, I don't think. Really, it's just when I look around and see everyone, like the whole gym running on its own. So when Jason and I go in on a Saturday and we're not supposed to be there and we just poke our heads in and we see everything that we want to see, that's just the proudest moment. We see our coaches laughing and engaging and being so friendly and so good at what they do. And then we see our members working out with each other and encouraging each other, supporting each other. And that makes us so proud.
That's awesome. You guys have set up such a great culture, a great community there, so you should be proud. You can be in any movie. What is it?
I know Jason said the same one, but definitely Harry Potter. I've been obsessed. I feel like we grew up with Harry Potter because we were Harry Potter's age when Harry Potter came out, and then we we grew up with him. So, oh man, if I could go to Hogwarts, it would be so cool.
All right. You have a journalism degree. So let's say you went through the other door and you didn't get in the fitness business. What would you be doing now if you were working in that field? What do you think?
I still don't think I'd be working in that field. I just, even though I went through the whole degree, I just realized most of the way, like part of the way through, that I don't want to sit behind a computer all day and write. So if I was doing journalism in any way, it would probably be more on the like broadcast journalism side, interviewing people, talking to people, but not necessarily the writing side. But I think that so I got into journalism sort of for my artistic side, I would say, or my creative side. And I think that I would just open an Etsy shop because I love like calligraphy and making signs for weddings and events. And I think that that's something I could actually see myself doing if I wasn't in the fitness industry. Yeah.
Cool. Lunch with anyone from the past. Who is it?
I think I would just want to meet with relatives that I never met. I would love to meet with my great-grandparents on my mom's side. They lived through the Holocaust in Russia, and I would love to just understand what they were going through and, yeah, just hear stories and understand how they made it through that difficult time.
Very cool. All right. What's any projects you're working on right now that's getting you really excited?
Really the videos that you were mentioning, just getting our message out there more. One thing that we're doing on Instagram, specifically with social media, is featuring our members in our videos. And that's something that's been really getting me excited. I think it's something hopefully that other people will start to adopt. And basically what we see on Instagram is typically the fitness model who's like half naked, showing an exercise and like how good they are at it. And that's not really inspiring for people sitting at home who are going to look at that and say, I can never do that. So really trying to feature a variety of different people, members, so that anyone at home can look at that and say like, oh wow, I could actually do that. That person's kind of like me. And we're very committed to making sure that we show a variety of body types and races and genders and ability levels. And we're just trying to push for more inclusivity in the fitness space, especially in the social media realm.
Love it. Let's finish up. What is your letter to your younger self? Little Lauren sitting there. What are you going to tell her?
Well, like I said before, I definitely spent a lot of my life hating my body and tearing myself down for not looking a certain way. So my advice to my younger self would be to stop trying so hard to live up to other people's expectations, to focus on just being my best self for me and not worrying so much about what other people thought of me and focusing on what makes me happy. Yeah.
Lauren, thanks for doing this. You guys are doing such great things up there, not only in Boston, but you're doing so many things with other gym owners with Results Fitness, and you're starting to get that message out to not only people in Somerville, but the world. So we love everything you're doing, and we really appreciate everything you guys are doing. So thanks for coming on and sharing.
Thank you so much, Anthony.
All right, that's going to do it for episode 44 of the Stop and Give Me 20 podcast. Thanks again to Lauren Pack. Make sure to check out all the links to all her stuff at stop20podcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and leave us a review and a rating. It really helps us out. My name's Anthony Rana. Thanks so much for stopping by.